Hey, I'm Jade Keogh.
And hello from me too, I'm Grace Seeley.
We both play for the Millwall Lionesses and are sponsored by the No One Likes Us talking team.
Why not sponsor one of our teammates just like they do?
To find out how, just email kwebster@millwallcommunity.org.uk. I'll say that again. kwebster@millwallcommunity.org.uk.
In your email, say who you want to sponsor and we'll get back to you with the sponsorship details and what to do next.
This is all you have to do and it will help us to get back to where we belong. Thank you, guys.
Now, enjoy our Millwall fan show from No One Likes Us talking team.
Come on, Mir.
Hi, Bethany Warren here, and you've joined us for the weekly Our Millwall fan show with the Millwall No One Likes Us talking team, which is broadcast every Friday evening. Enjoy!
So, a solid point away last weekend. I'm your host, Gary Staff, and with me I have the No One Likes Us talking team of Myles Thornton, Jeff Burnige and Stan Godwin.
Not everybody likes them, but they don't care.
Evening, Myles.
Evening, Gary. You all right?
Yeah, all good. Evening, Jeff.
Evening, everyone. Nice to be here.
And evening, Stan.
Yeah, good evening, everyone.
Good evening. So, we start off with you, Myles. West Brom away. I said at the start of the show there, a solid point. Do you agree with me?
100% agree with you. I think if before the game you told me that we was going to get a point there, then I'd be happy with it because, as many people have said, the Hawthorns is a tough place to go, and to get a point there is an achievement in itself.
Agreed. Stan, do you agree with Myles there?
Yeah, I mean it was a good point to get, but you see, more importantly though than that is that whilst we were getting a draw up there, the other results around us were working for us. Like Middlesbrough got beat, Coventry got beat. I think Blackburn got beat.
Don't forget Norwich.
So yeah, that's right. So you have to look at it in total now. But as I said, I didn't see the game, but I was talking to plenty of people the next day who had seen it, and I haven't heard anyone I was talking to complain about our performance. So by all accounts, it was a good, solid performance. And as I say, the icing on the cake is, the results went for us, around us. And at this sort of time of the season, it's more about the result in it than the performance, if you know what I mean, or the way that we play. It's about making sure you get the right result.
Agreed.
And we done it. So,
did.
I mean, a win would have been okay, but for them, but we took a point off them, and they haven't done that in a long time, have they?
No, indeed.
Other teams.
Indeed.
So, no, I'm happy, mate. I'm happy.
Good. And, Jeff, he visited a golf club over, I can't think where it was it Kentway? A couple of, this time last Thursday, I think it was. And he met with our old manager, Mr. Neil Harris, along with a few others from the show. Jeff, tell me what the evening was like, mate.
It was absolutely fabulous. It was something organised by the Community Trust. They held it down there for a good reason. They held it at the London Golf Club, which is West Kingsdown, and it's directly opposite, across from the motorway, the M26, to the new training ground. So I took the opportunity to go and have a look at where we're going to be. So that was an interesting thing. But Neil was absolutely superb. He was funny. He was straightforward. He answered every question. He told you something of interest that we wouldn't know about many of the situations. It was absolutely a wonderful evening. And he was on great form, Neil, great form. And he showed everyone what a great love for Millwall he has.
Yeah, it was a shame I couldn't get there. Unfortunately, my wife was working late, which meant I was on daddy daycare. But hey, I'm glad it was a lovely evening, and hopefully I'll do it again one day. So, Ted, our long-time panellist, has brought to our attention a beautiful cause about a guy called Sam Sibley. They were raising money for baby Jamie as he now adopts... Sam Sibley's son, baby Jamie Bentley, as he now adopts and lives his life with the condition of ultra short bowel, a recent and unexpected life-changing event. Stacey and Dean lives have stopped until Jamie faces this 6 to 12 months in hospital. Understandably, they are both stopped working to focus, so we're trying to raise money for them to help go towards little Jamie and get back to full fitness, hopefully. To give get my teeth in. To give on the Just Giving site, just go to Just Giving and type in Sam Sibley. They've already raised over £11,500. Their target's 15,000, so it'd be fantastic to get them to the total and even push on past that. I know Ted is actually donating his signed Millwall shirt that he got from the player sponsorship, and all proceeds will be going to our little lion as well. And now we will listen to a little clip from Debbie Julians and Paul Owens from Fisher FC.
Hi, I'm Paul, a Millwall and Fisher FC supporter. There's always been strong links between our clubs, and as such, Fisher FC would like to remind Millwall season ticket holders and supporters club members that entry to watch Fisher is just a £5 if you show your card at the gate.
Our Millwall Fan Show is sponsored by family business G&M Motors of Gravesend and Meopham in Kent. They are Millwall fans too. They've been Honda dealers for over 50 years. At G&M Motors Gravesend, you can purchase a new Honda. At both Gravesend and Meopham, they have a combined range of over 150 quality used cars and ex-demonstrators to suit all budgets and lifestyles. They also offer a comprehensive range of repair and maintenance services to ensure your vehicle stays reliable, safe, and retains a higher value with trust. G&M Motors, Gravesend and Meopham are dear friends of the Julians family. From Lenny to Debbie, and also our Millwall Fan Show.
Thanks, Debbie. I'm your host, Gary Staff, and with me I have the No One Likes Us Talking team of Miles, Jeff and Stan. Many thanks to our sponsors, G&M Motors of Gravesend and Meopham. This ex-Lion had two spells with the Lions, starting in 1976 playing with the Millwall youth team, which included one very special match against Manchester City youth team. You'll hear more about that shortly. He then went on to play 36 times for the first team, scoring one goal. Spells at Colchester, Wrexham, Chelmsford, Exeter, Aldershot and Dulwich Hamlet before he returned to the Lions to be part of that infamous promotion winning side. After the Lions, he went over to Finland before returning back to the UK to play for Colchester United again, and then on to Wivenhoe Town, where he played 211 times before hanging up his boots. He's now a panellist on the show, and I can class him as a friend, and I'm proud to say I can. Welcome to the back to the show, Phil Coleman.
Hello, Phil.
Evening, everyone.
How you doing,
Hello.
mate?
Hello, Phil.
Phil, before I
Hello.
evening, Phil. Before I let you back off with Miles, Jeff, and Stan, I just wanted to know what keeps you busy these days, mate.
Oh, a little bit of work here and there. I'm still a full-time PE teacher. I coach our rugby academy in a college. I coach Braintree Town in the National League South, currently sitting in the playoffs. I'm just finishing a 7-year spell as a Colchester City councillor. I coach the school's rugby at 2 different schools. Look after my grandson as a goalkeeper in his little Sunday team, a bit of coaching there. So, yeah, I might have a couple of minutes for the wife every now and again.
Fantastic. Miles, over to you.
Hello, Phil. So, Phil,
Oh, yeah.
I know you probably have been asked this hundreds of times, but that team that got promoted to the old First Division, what was it like to be part of that group of lads?
It was absolutely amazing. I came back from my second spell in the Dock and Bob Pearson in the start of the 1986 season. And the team was there, and we're sort of like mid-table in what is now the Championship. And then I saw players come in. I was on the treatment table one day, and Terry Earlock walked in. What's it like here, Phil? And then Steve Wood came in, Cash came in, and you just saw this initial squad of about 18 players just grow to 24. But the 6 or 7 that came in, including the likes of Wes Reed, absolutely brilliant in coming into the club. 24 players, top blokes. They're all friends. I think we got on more friends than teammates. I will say that we demanded of each other. I mean, we had some fearsome digs on the training ground, but we also socialised together. So whilst we're pushing each other on the training ground, we socialised, and if we won, we went out. You know, somebody booked it. I remember Keith Stevens, he organised the players' lounge upstairs above the change rooms, and we had our own little bar up there after games and made a few quid, and that paid for the end of the year trip somewhere. But having 24, there was plenty of competition for places. I wouldn't be so surprised if what was the recognised starting team in 87, 88, if they played the reserve team. I was in the reserves. I never got a game in that second year. The reserves might have given them a bit of a game, might have beaten them as well. I mean, goalkeeper, Paul Sampson, Sean Sparham, Dave Thompson, myself. A choice of wingers could have been in the reserves, anything from David Byrne, Jimmy Carter, Robbie Cook, didn't play many games, Dean Orix, bless him, Jules Lawrence, Dave Memmett, Darren Morgan. I mean, these guys, I don't think Danny Salmon played too much either at some stages. But it was a hell of a squad, and as I say, the competition for places, I think, pushed everybody on. A couple of players for each shirt. But as I say, I never got a game, but I knew what I did on the training ground, and if there was some sprints to do, we tried to win. I tried to win. If there was a first team versus reserve game, I was kicking Cass and marking Teddy and really pushing them on. And I also like to think I captained the reserves a few times, and Alan Dowson and Dave Thompson, Steve Anthrobus, these young lads were coming through, and I tried to look after them as being a sort of a bit older. But it was a great time, and when you look at what the Doc created and the players he brought in and how it gelled, absolutely brilliant to be involved in that.
Hi, Phil. It's Jeff here asking the question this time.
Hi, Jeff. How you doing, mate?
I'm doing really well, really well. Great to speak to you. I think you've been a bit modest about your contribution to that promotion because in the first season prior to it, you played quite a bit, I think. And I hadn't realised how deep that squad was, but you made a good point there. You mentioned earlier that you played in a certain match for the youth team against Manchester City. You were recently on the pitch to commemorate that very game. What was the match? Tell the listeners, and how did it feel to be part of it on the pitch?
I'm not really talking about it much over the years, probably twice a day, I think. No, we had an exceptional. I mean, the book Ordinary Boys tells the story, but when the club bring us 15-year-olds and we sign apprentice, and then the second year we roll forward and another bunch of young lads come in, and there was another bunch just behind that age, 15, 16. And it all knitted together. It started with Billy Neal, for me, down at Crofton Park, training as a 15-year-old. And then you play 16 years old in the youth team in the South East Counties, and then in the reserve league, in the old midweek league, 16 years old. So you get this tough grounding. And then at 16, 17 as apprentice, you're cleaning the ground, you're cleaning the boots, and you're actually playing in training matches against Kitch and these guys in the first team. And it all knitted together. Oscar Arthey comes in for the first year, David Payne the second year, and Bob Pearson obviously massively involved in bringing these young players in. We were in the FA Youth Cup, and in 1979 it all aligned, and we really did beat everybody in the country. Colchester, I think, Norwich, Sunderland, Nottingham Forest, Everton, and then the game that you're talking about, Jeff, was Manchester City. We went away. I think it was a 6 o'clock kickoff, and I think about 500 fans came up to watch us. I think they had a row with Chelsea and Man United after our game. But we had a 0-0 draw away, and then in the home game, there was only one team going to win that game. Before we kicked off, we knew we had won that game. There was not a cat in hell's chance of Man City going to beat us. They weren't going to out-battle us because we had some right scrappers like Paul Roberts, Dave Martin, Paul Robinson, Alan McKenna. But we could also play. And when you've got the likes of Ian Gale, Tony Kinsella, Chrissy Dibble, Dave Memmett and Kevin O'Callaghan, we could fight and we could scrap. And it was a matter of time before we scored. Luckily, I got one of them. Great corner from Kevin O'Callaghan. But at half-time, I remember Terry Long saying to me, stay out the box a bit longer. You're arriving on the end of these corners too early. So I just held out a bit longer, and Callie put it on the penalty spot, and I nutted it in. And absolutely fantastic fantastic night. The den was almost packed. I mean, I think the recorded gate was about 5, but it looked more like 10,000 to most people. And everybody seems, whenever I bump into fans, they always remember, I was there. There was so many young people there, so many top fans were there. In that run, though, the Forest game was actually the toughest game because we were winning 3-1 at home, and then we drew 3-3, and we went away and won 1-0. And we had a run-in with Brian Clough because he thought Forest was a great team, and then he changed his mind and actually told us later that he just watched the best youth team in the country at the time. So high praise from Mr. Clough. But we've got back together a couple of times, and Dockers Day, we're all there. A few missing, but the vast majority of the team turned up on Dockers Day against Huddersfield a couple of weeks ago. Absolute brilliantly organised again and led by Chris Bethel. The man's a legend for what he does. We had a great catch-up. I picked Alan McKenna up. He came down from Edinburgh. And we got a few. This is the good thing. And I'm really pleased because whilst most of us were playing in the first team, we had the lads that came into the youth team to play every Saturday morning in the South East County. So guys turned up a couple of weeks ago for Dockers Day, included people like Dave Hockaday, Mark Dennehy, Johnny Helps, Tony Dark. And we also managed to get our kit bloke back, Tony Isaacs, who we nicknamed Tubbsy Isaacs. And so these guys were fundamental because they underpinned us. You know, us 12 or 13 were off sort of like winning the FA Youth Cup, but these guys are also in the youth team, and I'm glad they got the opportunity to come down and catch up with all of us again. And the first thing we did on Dockers Day, we had a quick beer to Dean Horrocks because obviously his contribution was immense in that cup run, and we'll never forget Dino. He's part of our team, and even today he's fondly remembered. So a great Dockers Day, really, really great to catch up with everybody. And a load of the other ex-first team players around, Nicky Johns, who presented my trophy to me. It was Barry Rowan and Terry Brisley were there. And obviously some of the other players that are in the exec, like Brian Horn and Les and Wes. So caught up with Billy Neal. So it was a really good day. And long may those Dockers Day continue.
Thanks for that, Phil. I wasn't able to meet up with you all that day. I go with my 2 daughters to matches these days. I don't get anywhere near the exec club, so I missed it, and I really regret missing it because some of those people I haven't spoken to for donkey's years. But it was a memorable night. I can recall it so well. Can I just say about Dean Horrocks, in that replay against Nottingham Forest at the City Ground, he got carried off. Do you remember that, Phil?
I do, yeah. Dino come on as a sub, and then he got a whacking. I think the guy punched him or kneed him or kicked him in the head, but there was contact off the ball on the ground, and Dino went off with a fractured skull. And sadly, that was the end of that for a little while. But that was a nasty one at Forest. But that's one of, when people talk to me about memorable games, that Forest away game was so memorable. We scored after about 10 or 15 minutes, and we defended like it was the Alamo.
I think it was Tony Kinsella scored, wasn't it?
He did, yeah. Tony scored early, and you talk to people like Paul Roberts, and we were on the edge of the 6-yard box making last-ditch tackles and covered in mud and bruises, and it was a real good side that we beat. And a little story as well, because my mum and my brothers were there and sitting in the stands, and Brian Clough was effing and yelling at the team. And my mum's turned around and had, "Will you shut the F up?" And I do apologise, madam. And she shut him up. He never said another word. Thanks, mum.
Right. Okay, Phil. Yeah, good to hear from you again, mate. Yeah, anyway, as someone who's been around the Lions during a promotion push, what do you think is or we should be going through the players' heads at this moment with 7 cup finals coming up?
Absolutely, they're cup finals, and they're almost like, forget about how you play, you just win them. What I remember from '88, it was consistent. That team basically picked itself week in, week out. I don't think there was too much chopping and changing. It was the same formation. It was the same players almost bedded in. So that was consistent. There was a confidence in the team. You start to win a few games, and the draw at the wins at Reading and Swansea, these games, and going away to West Brom gives you a bit of confidence. But for me, they've got to work hard, believe in what got them to this position in the first place. Trust each other. There is a bit of competition in the squad now because obviously there's a few players coming back. I looked at the under-21s the other day, and most of them were first-team players of note. So obviously they're coming back fit. So that's going to be a nice thing for Gary Warwick. Competition. He's got players to choose from now. And having that squad, that depth of squad, probably wasn't there a year or two ago, but it is now. But I would say being consistent, working hard, and just keep on doing what you've been doing. And there's a solid base to work from. We defend well, but if you look at the team from '88, it was a solid team where everybody worked hard, everybody put a shift in, and I can see exactly the same in this team. People are running miles every game. They're closing down. They work really hard, and then you take your chances when you can. But you have to be patient as well. Sometimes you might not win it to the 90th minute. You know, it's no good going gung ho. You just have to play the opposition, play the event. It's going to be a sellout again tomorrow. Hopefully that will be noisy and in our favour. But I think being consistent and working hard and trusting the processes that you've been put up to do all through the season.
No worries. As mentioned earlier, you had quite a successful youth career. Did you have many other successes as a youngster?
Yeah, it's. I was lucky. I went to my secondary school. Followed on, as everybody did in those days. You jumpers for goalposts and playing out till it's dark, and it was just football. And I was inspired by the likes of Daley Thompson and Viv Richards and Ian Botham. So I wanted to be a cricketer, and then I wanted to be an athlete. But at the end of the day, I got the bug by watching Millwall, and I wanted to be a football. But I was lucky. I passed the 11 plus. So I don't know where that came from, but I must have been intelligent somehow to pass the 11 plus. And I went to what was the Roan Grammar School next to Greenwich Park. So that was a football playing grammar school. I had a choice of Colfs, which was rugby, and Roan, which was football. And to just play football morning, noon and night at a football playing grammar school where the head teacher just backed you because you was a footballer or you love football. And we used to put out 6 teams on a Saturday morning down in Kidbrooke there at the playing fields. And I played football through the 2 terms, and then we went into cricket and athletics. I ran in the London Championships in both the cross country and 100 metres, representing the school. But it was a football playing grammar school, and I'm not sure too many other schools that have won the national title, the English schools under 18s, 3 years in 7. And I was part of the team that won it in 1977. And to be national champions under 18s, and I scored in the final there. And obviously I've got the FA Youth Cup under 18s. I scored in that final. So I've got a double of my own in my own head, really. But I just love playing football. And to just turn up every Saturday morning for 2 terms and just play nearly every home game. We had a couple of thousand watch the semi-final when that English schools played Millfields and beat them 6-0. Played beside Gary Micklewhite, who we know, Dave Campbell, who was playing for Charlton's first team at the time, and Andy Nelson had to be phoned by the head teacher to say Dave Campbell's not playing in your first team today because he's playing in the final of the English schools. So that's what schools could do back then. But I also played for Blackheath District. I played for London as a county. I played for Charlton Manor, Sunday team, and Charterhouse Boys Club. So there were times when I actually played 4 games at a weekend, 2 on a Saturday and 2 on a Sunday. I just got on with it. 4 games in a weekend. You put that to somebody now, they'd fall off the chair. You can't do that. It's probably child abuse. But that was it. I had some success with the Roan and thoroughly enjoyed my time at Charterhouse Boys Club. Apart from doing some boxing and being punched on the nose, and that was the end of my boxing career. Lasted 6 weeks. But did plenty as a youngster. But the Roan and winning the English schools and scoring in that final stands out for me as that one.
Phil, turning back to your Millwall appearances, you played under John Docherty, a legendary Millwall manager. How did you find him to work with?
I got a call. I'd actually started the season and pre-season. I played a few games for Dulwich Hamlet, and I spoke to Roger Cross. Can I come in and do some training? Because obviously Dulwich was part-time. And all of a sudden the Doc introduced himself to me, and Bob Pearson was there, and obviously instrumental in bringing me back. The next thing I know, I'm playing for Mills Reserves at Southampton, in the first game of the reserve season. I've got young Dave Thompson next to me. And I'd done okay. And the doc called me in and said, here's a 2-year contract. So he must have been happy with what I was doing in the reserves at the very start of that season. But the doc was tough, but firm, but really fair. He demanded hard work, never minced his words, patted you on the back. And I thought he was clever in building that squad. Obviously, Frank McClintock came in the second year, who I thought was probably the masterstroke, because Frank's coaching, there was a lot of fine-tuning, little things for the fullbacks to do, which nobody else had done for years and I'd never seen or heard. So he brought Frank McClintock in, and that was another notch up. And Frank was tough. I mean, he demanded it, but he was another one. He patted you on the back. But Doc was firm. But I think he demanded out of players. He put a team together where I don't think anybody shirked. I don't think there was not one player there that didn't run for the Doc and Frank. If you have that respect for the bloke, you run through brick walls for him. But I enjoyed the Doc. Enjoyed working with him.
Bill, I forgot your name for a second. Anyway, you also played alongside with your brother Nicky at Millwall.
Yeah,
I bet that was a great experience for you and your family, wasn't it?
Amazing. Somebody was talking about this the other day. It's almost non-stop talking football and Millwall, and there's a few special times in my career. Obviously, we spoke about the FA Youth Cup and my debut. That's another one where you get called up to play against West Ham. You beat them 2-1, and I'm playing next to Barry Kitchener. My first goal away at Oxford for Millwall, 20-yarder, top corner. Coming back in '86, and obviously playing in the same team as my brother. I mean, I think there's 4 or 5 pairs of brothers that have played for the club. I played in the same team at the same time next to my brother. And I didn't make 400 or 500 league games. I didn't make 200 league games for the club. But I was there for an awful long time, from 15 to 21, and then again from age 26 to 28. But what I've done in these little things, I have my own little bubble of excitement, because FA Youth Cup, debut against West Ham, playing for the club twice. Yes, I scored a league goal for Millwall, happy days. But I think playing next to my brother in the same team was magic. And I think my debut, second time round, I think was against West Brom. I think we beat them 2-0. I'm right back, your brother's left back, and I don't know, it's a fairy tale. You just looked across the change room, and there's my little kid brother playing in the same team as me. It's just magic. And Nick was establishing himself. Nick's got a little bit of a bubble of himself, because as you get a bit of time in lockdown, you start looking at things and memories, and you read through programs. And my brother's played for 3 teams that won the league. Jules Graham lent him out to Swindon, and he played about 17 games for Swindon under Lou Macari, and they won the league. He played a couple of games under Jules Graham when they won the league, I think 84, 85. And then obviously he played for the Doc. So he's got 3 promotions with 3 Scottish managers. So Nick's got his own little story there as well. But he was a horrible, nasty defender. And he appreciates that. He was so quick. I mean, he's one of the quickest players I've seen. And I'll give you another story. We played QPR away on that all-weather AstroTurf. I couldn't call it a pitch, monstrosity. And then talking about this lad Kerslake, he catches pigeons, he's that quick. Well, he never got past Nick that night. But Nick went in for a tackle. He wanted to hurt you. He took no prisoners at all. And some fans that get the game and understand it know that he was quick and nobody got past him. Vince Hilaire never got past him. He might have got some crosses in, but nobody got past Nick that I'm aware of. And he was bloody minded. He crossed the white line. My God, he was like an animal. But when he came off of it, we're going out for something to eat tonight. Didn't want to talk about the game, and never has talked about the game much. But the Doc called him the best defensive fullback in the country at the time, and he was reliable. He just left him at the back. He didn't go up for corners. He didn't overlap. He didn't go up for free kicks. Nick was a defender, and he thoroughly enjoyed defending. And I'm mighty proud of him, because, as I say, he's picked up a Division 2 then winners' medal. Unluckily, snapped his cruciate, knee cruciate ligament. 5 days before the start of the season in Division 1. And he was out for the whole year while they strengthened him up. He played a few games, but he snapped the other one as well. And the consultant said, you need a knee for the next 50 or 60 years. So he retired and took a testimonial, and the rest is history. But what Nick did for a couple of years at the club was absolutely amazing. And I wouldn't have liked to have tackled him. I like to tackle, but I wouldn't have tackled my brother. No,
Phil, it's so lovely to hear, and you can hear a love for each other in there. Your voice there is brilliant.
Oh, thanks.
And as always, there was never enough time for you, Phil. We could have gone on, as you said the other night, for hours. And I'm sure Jeff's got more questions he's got up his sleeve that he could ask you about the times together. But before I let you go, we've obviously got Luton and Hull this weekend. First up, Luton, tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
What do you reckon for that one?
As I've said, and it sounds like a broken record when I'm on the panel, every game in this league's a tough game. You get nothing. Huddersfield prove that. They're well organised. They're tough to beat. Every team's tough to beat. And Luton are at the top end of the table, the same as Millwall, on merit because they're tough to beat and they nick their goals. I'd probably say it's going to be a real close one. I think the home crowd, if it's up and it's noisy and it's intimidating, it will be a Millwall win 1-0.
I like that. And then away to Hull, which...
it depends which Hull turn up. I've seen Hull play really well, and I think it's Rosinha who's got the job there. And he's got them playing some good football. But again, if you can go away to West Brom and keep it tight and actually create a few chances, which I saw on the TV, we can quite easily beat Hull. It's not the end of the world to draw against Luton and beat Hull. It wouldn't surprise me it's the other way around either. No, eminently winnable away at Hull, and there'll be good backing up there as well. There'll be 4 figures of fans travelling up there for sure. So some great backing. It's a noisy stadium, Hull.
Well, as you say, Phil, win away, win at home, draw away, vice versa.
Yeah,
always the way it should be. Thanks, Phil. It's been brilliant to talk to you once again, and there's still much more to explore. We'll get you on as a panellist, stroke guest again soon. Love to your family, and speak to you soon, Phil. Take care.
Hi, Bethany here. Want a matchday programme? You'll find them with sellers outside the ground by the gates at Zampa Road, Stockholm Road and Senegal Road. They cost £1 and the sellers ask if you can have the right money, as change will be difficult. If you want to get a message, photos of special events, memorials or just ones for good luck to be included, email smprogram@protonmail.com. That is smprogramme@protonmail.com. It's a great read.
I'm your host, Gary Staff, and with me are the No One Likes Us Talking team of Miles, Jeff and Stan. Let's hear from our lovely Ellis Barr.
Ellis here. Thank you for watching my videos. Now to hear what the Millwall Lionesses and Romans have been up to, and to hear who is next up for Gary Rowett and the Lions. Come on, Millwall!
Thanks, Ellis. The Lions had another great result this weekend against Dartford. Jeff filed a report on that match.
This is Jeff Burnige reporting on Millwall Lionesses. They completed their double over rivals Dartford women with a 3-2 victory at Princes Park, Dartford yesterday, to keep them in third place in the London and South East Regional League. They are chasing a promotion spot, but may have to settle for just third spot and will be looking for promotion next season. As usual, Dartford provided a strong physical challenge and looked well organised with a definite game plan. They took the lead, in fact, by pressing hard on keeper Hope Smith on 25 minutes. Smith had already made one great save, and top scorer Otisha Charles had actually headed one off the line. On 39 minutes, however, Charles made a great run down the left, cut in along the byline, and was tripped just as she went to shoot. She eventually got to her feet and slotted home the penalty for an equaliser. Then on 45 minutes, she enabled the Lionesses to take the lead. Angel Reid left her left back on the floor, ran all the way down the right into the box, hit a powerful shot which was saved by the keeper, only for Charles to get her second from the edge of the box as it rebounded out to her. Millwall were now on top, and manager Jack Wheeler brought on 17-year-old Melissa Jones for only her second appearance, joining her under-18s teammate Ellen Napper on the pitch. There were further chances for Cadence Kabadaki and Angel Reid, but it was in the 90th minute that the game was finally sealed when Maisie Joyce headed home Jade Keogh's left wing corner. In the 8th and final minute of stoppage time, Dartford actually made it 3-2, but there was only time for the referee to blow for a valuable away win for the Lionesses.
Thanks, Jeff. The Romans and the Pride had differing fortunes this weekend against Soho FC, with the Romans winning 15-0, yes, 15, and the Romans losing 8-0. So let's hope that all our teams going forward get the success they desire in their upcoming fixtures. So next up for Gary Rowell and the first team is we'll make it huge, home match against Luton on Friday, followed by an away day at Hull City. I'll start with Luton. Miles, a prediction and a thoughts for the game.
I am really looking forward to it. If I get there's been a bit of a mix-up with my ticket. But I do think we're going to beat them. I don't want to put a curse on it, but I do think we're going to beat them. I think it's going to be scrappy because of where the two teams are, but I think it's going to be 1-0 Millwall.
I can't disagree. Jeff, are you concurring with young Miles?
Yeah, I am. I think it's perhaps the crucial game because we are in 5th place. There is a small gap between us and the first team outside the playoffs. This will be a very, very tough game. I'm forecasting that the 12th man, the crowd, will come to the party, and I think they'll push Millwall to a small victory. Hopefully more than 1-0, but I think Millwall will manage to win this one.
And Stan?
Well, yeah, I mean, I agree. One, I think we'll win the game, and two, I agree what Jeff said about the crowd because. But then you see, it always reminds me of the words that Kenny Jackett used to turn around and say when he said, it's up to the players to bring the crowd into play, and that's and that's very true, and will be very true on tomorrow rather. Sorry. But no, I mean, I'm confident. They're not going to be easy. All I'm hoping is we don't make hard work of it by continue shooting ourselves in the foot. But good. But I'm confident we'll win, and and then if we win that game, then I think that Hull won't pose a bigger problem as some people think it might do. Personally. But anyway, we'll see. But I think that if we can get the 3 points tomorrow, which I'm confident we'll do, then we're well on our way.
Scoreline, though, Stan?
I would say 2-1. That'd do me.
I'll take that. And then on to Hull, as Stan was talking about there. Miles, go to you first again.
Yeah, another one that I'm looking forward to. I think once Luton's out of the way, apart from Blackburn, at the end of the season, all the other games, they're all below us, and on paper, we could win all of them. But, that with Millwall, that's not how it happens. I think we are going to beat Hull, though, and I think it's going to be
2-1. Jeff?
We clinched our championship in 1988 to get promoted to the top division for the first and only time in our history at Hull.
We did.
On a memorable day. It wasn't the same stadium. That was the old Boothbury Park. That was an amazing experience.
Who took the penalty? Jeff?
Kevin O'Callaghan took the penalty.
Of course.
And some of the players didn't get back to the den till the Friday of the next week. It was celebrated very, very well, that victory. As for this one, I think it's going to be very tough. Liam Rosinia, with his background, I think he'll be very anxious to give us a beating, particularly if we're still in the playoff zone after beating Luton. So I think I'm going to settle for a draw there. I'll go for 1-1 at Hull.
Fair enough. And Stan? Over to you, Stan.
Yeah, I mean, the Hull will be a tough proposition, but we can make it easy. I think in both this game coming up and the game we got tomorrow, what we must do from the outset is that we must set the pace. We got to keep going as we mean to carry on, and it's no good us starting off well and then suddenly letting them get back into the games, because you're talking about two teams that are good footballing sides. Liam Rosinia has had the reputation for some time as an up-and-coming coach. He done very well at Derby, and he's now gradually turning Hull City around and getting him to play the way he wants the game to be played. We can win the game. In both cases, we can win the game. But as I say, it's all about what we do. We must set the pace from the outset and not let them get into the game. And if we do that, I don't know, it's easy for me to say because I haven't got to go and do it, but nevertheless, that don't mean to say it's wrong. Then I'm confident that we can win the game. So I predict in this game, if we apply ourselves in the right way, I think we'll win that 3-1.
Oh, I'll take that. Me to summarise, I think in Luton, yeah, it will be scrappy, we'll be tight, but I think we'll be quite comfortable. I think in the end, because home support, I think we've learned a bit of a lesson from the first game. And I think we'll win that 2-0. The whole game be a bit different, but I think it could be like the Stoke and the games preceding that. If we get an early first half goal, I think we'll shut up shop and win that 1-0. So now we will listen to Bethany Warren.
The work of the Millwall Community Trust makes a big difference for people in Lewisham, Southwark and North Kent. Times are getting tougher, and to help them make a difference, you can help too, by making a donation. Give a one-off donation or a monthly amount. Your support is crucial in raising vital funds for their work. Or by fundraising for them. If you are running, swimming, cycling, cooking, dancing, parachuting or anything else, why not do it for the Millwall Community Trust? Interested? Then either email inquiries@millwallcommunity.org.uk or phone 0207 740 0503. I'll say that again. Email inquiries@millwallcommunity.org.uk or phone 0207 740 0503. Thanks if you can.
I'm your host, Gary Staff, and with me I have the No One Likes Us talking team of Miles, Jeff and Stan. If you could do any of those things that Bethany mentioned, it will go a long way to support the Millwall Community Trust in supporting the needs of the community. Our final guest tonight is all the way from Europe, Italy to be precise. He regularly travels over 1,000 miles from Toronto to the Den to watch his beloved Lions. He recently was a match ball sponsor, but unfortunately due to an Italian public transport incident, he was unable to make it that day. Welcome to the show, our friend Gianluca Sardi.
Oh, okay. Hi, Gianluca. Being an Italian living in Italy, how did it come about that you became a Millwall supporter and matchday ball sponsor?
Good evening, everyone, and thanks a lot for inviting me to the show. It's always a great honor and a pleasure for me too. And I would also like to send a very big hug to Aimon, who is struggling as a lion, and I hope to see him very, very soon. I fell in love with Millwall many years ago. nearly 15 years ago, during an English summer course in London. After an afternoon class, I got lost in South London, and after walking for a couple of miles, I bumped into the den, and it was an instant feeling of love with the ground, with the place, with Bermondsey, with local people that I have still difficulty to describe even after many years. And from then on, I attended many more games in the following years, and when I started to live and work in London in January 2020, I also decided to become a season ticket holder and attend all the games, both at home and away, in the following years, I also decided to support my beloved football club, my beloved Millwall, also as a sponsor, a match ball sponsor, because these lovely packages organized by the commercial department are a huge opportunity also to entertain family and friends at the den on match days, and I absolutely love them.
Gianluca, it's Jeff here. Lovely to speak to you again. In your time following the Lions, what will be your standout match and most memorable moment?
That's another great question. Thanks a lot for asking, mates. Probably my standout match is the game against Coventry City that took place at the Den last August 2022. And because winning a game 3-2 after being 2-0 down meant a lot for me, and I think for everyone connected to Millwall Football Club. And if I remember well, it was the first time that we were able to win a game after having been 2-0 down at the New Den. The atmosphere was terrific, and when George Saville scored the 3-2 goal with just 8 or 9 minutes left, I think I went totally mad, and it was really unbelievable. One of the best moments of my life, really, not only in a football ground. And the greatest memorable moment, there are many, really, there are many. I still remember the 2011 edition of the Dockers Day. It was the first Dockers Day that I attended at the Den. It was lovely to meet the players who won the 1987-1988 second division title, and also to meet the former Dockers, and then winning in the injury time against Doncaster, and but many memorable moments, really. Also the game against Swansea City last summer. It was a midweek game, and I was there, obviously, and getting a point after having been 2-0 down until the 93rd minute was really fantastic, hugging everyone in the away end after scoring the equalizer through the second own goal. It was really unbelievable, really. And but however, there have been so many moments that I will never forget following Millwall, really.
Hi, Gianluca. You recently wrote an article in the Italian press about your association with Millwall. How did that come about?
Oh yeah, that's great. Yeah, I was asked to write an article about my association, my story with Millwall, by the Italian football legend Filippo Galli, former player of AC Milan, Brescia, and Pescara and Watford, among the other ones, who won 4 Champions League with AC Milan and many other trophies in his football career. And he asked me to write a piece about my association with Millwall. I was very happy to write it, and so I tried to summarize my story with the Lions from the start. So the summer of 2008, when I fell in love with Millwall, with Bermondsey, and going through my university years. And my PhD years, and especially the period in Oxford, which enabled me to attend many games of Millwall. And I also mentioned the seasons after COVID, so after the reopening of football grounds, when the pandemic stopped a bit, and it was lovely to remember so many games and memorable moments, both on and off the pitch. And I also described the marvelous initiatives of the Millwall Community Trust, and always hats off to Sean and to his fantastic staff for doing all those fantastic projects for the local community and the South London residents, really.
Gianluca, thank you so much for joining us this evening. It's been an absolute pleasure. All the best to you and your family. But before we pass you off and say goodbye, we always have a prediction from our guests. So first up is Luton, and then followed by an away trip to Hull.
The next 2 games are very complicated to predict, in my humble opinion. I would say that against Luton Town at the Den, with the backing of the crowd, I think that we will be able to get the 3 points. So I would say Millwall 2, Luton Town 1. And then another tough game is waiting for us on Easter Monday. Hull City away is never easy. So I would say, maybe a draw. So Hull City 1 and Millwall 1.
Thanks, Gianluca. Absolute pleasure as always, and love to get you back on the show again soon. Take care.
Thank you so much to all of you for everything, really. It's always a real joy for me to join you. I hope to see all of you very, very soon, and have a nice evening, and come on you Lions.
Cheerio, Gianluca.
Cheers, Gianluca.
Bye-bye.
Let's hear from Harvey Brown.
Have you heard of the Lions Food Hub? That Millwall Lioness Kelly Webster is involved. Don't forget to help the Lions Food Hub if you can. Thank you.
As Harvey said, they need your support. If you can help, and you can make a one-off or a regular monetary donation at Banquet, that is BANKUET, you will find them online. Insert www.banquet.co.uk/Lions Food Hub into your browser. I'll say that again, www.banquet.co.uk/Lions Food Hub. And the Lions Food Hub is all one word. On match days, you can make food and toiletry donations at the Lions Food Hub, which is opposite the 1885 bar at the Cold Blow Lane end of the ground. Alternatively, you can also contact the team via the Lions Food Hub Twitter or Facebook sites.
I'm your host, Gary Staff, and with me I have the No One Likes Us Talking team of Miles, Jeff and Stan. More than 2 years have passed since the Lions Food Hub came into being, which for us was a bittersweet celebration. We did not expect food hubs to become permanent. Nonetheless, Kelly and Ellen Webster all the Hubster team, their sponsors and those that donate are making such a difference in supporting those at risk. You can help them if you can, as the country sadly remains in a sea of spiralling prices. Next week, we have Ted and Dave and Pat coming up. There won't be any business this week because we decided against putting it in, to be honest. But don't forget, you'll be able to listen to the No One Likes Us Talking team, bring reports from our games home and away for both the Lions and the Lionesses, and also updates on Millwall Community Matters too on Maritime Radio, broadcasting on 96.5 FM or on their website. Additionally, you can find us on Instagram, Facebook, Reddit, Tumblr, and Twitter, and other social media sites, and all popular podcast sites too. Thanks, and good night to Miles.
Thanks, everyone. Good night.
Good night to Jeff.
Good night, everybody. Come on, you Lions.
And good night to Stan.
Yeah, good night, everybody.
Thanks, everyone. And don't forget, keep it safe on the streets out there. Good night from me and a good night from them.